The general electronic configuration for this group of elements is NH2 NP4. So all these elements need two electrons. They need two electrons to get the octet configuration. If they gain two electrons, then they will get octet configuration, then they are stable. Because of that reason, all these elements have the ability to gain two electrons. When they gain two electrons, the oxidation state is -2. So the general oxidation state for these elements is -2. The general oxidation state for these elements is -2. In this group, the -2 oxidation state stability decreases from oxygen to polonium. Why the oxidation state stability decreases from top to bottom? Because we know from top to bottom atomic size increases. As atomic size increases, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. Top to bottom atomic size increases. As atomic size increases, then metallic nature increases. So oxygen and sulfur are non-metal. Selenium and tellurium are metalloids. And the polonium is a metal. So from top to bottom, metallic nature increases and non-metallic nature decreases. We know generally metals show positive oxidation state. Because of that reason, in this group, from top to bottom, the stability of -2 oxidation state decreases. Polonium hardly show -2 oxidation state because polonium is a metal. It shows +2 oxidation state. So oxygen show -2 oxidation state. Sulfur also show oxidation state, but the stability of the -2 oxidation state decreases from top to bottom. And oxygen shows some other oxidation states, -2, along with -1 it will show 0 in uncombined state, along with +1, +2, along with fractional oxidation state also oxygen will show. So in general oxides, oxidation state of oxygen is -2. In general oxides, oxidation state of oxygen is -2. In peroxides, we know in peroxides containing OO single bond, oxidation state is -1, oxygen. And in uncombined state, that is O double bond O. In this case, oxidation state is 0. And it shows +1 oxidation state with fluorine in O2F2. In O2F2, oxidation state of fluorine is +1 because oxidation state of oxygen is +1 because fluorine is more electronegative element than oxygen. And oxygen show +2 oxidation state with again fluorine in OF2 molecule. And also oxygen show +1/2 oxidation state in superoxides. So superoxide, let us take KO2. In this case, the oxidation state of oxygen, here -1/2, not +1/2, -1/2. In this, it is a superoxide, so the oxidation state of oxygen is -1/2. So if O2 minus O2 minus or O minus 2. Generally, O minus 2 we called normal oxide. O minus 2 we called normal oxide. And O2 peroxide is there. If you take H2O2 hydrogen peroxide, in this case O2 minus 2 is there. So O2 minus 2 is peroxide. O2 minus 2 is peroxide. O2 minus is superoxide. O2 minus is superoxide. So in this case, oxygen show a variety of oxidation states from -2 to +2, including fraction that is -1/2. And one more important point regarding this oxidation state of oxygen, oxygen cannot show higher oxidation state, that is +4 or +6. Oxygen cannot show higher oxidation state +4 or +6. The reason for this, due to absence of d orbital. Due to absence of d orbital, oxygen unable to show higher oxidation state, that is +4 and +6. Whereas the other elements of this group, that is sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium is a radioactive. These elements show oxidation state -2 along with, they will show +2, +4 and +6. Along with -2, they will show some other oxidation state +2, +4, +6. In this +4, +6 is common oxidation state. It is very common oxidation state. It is very common oxidation state. And +6 oxidation state stability. +6 oxidation state stability from top to bottom decreases. From top to bottom decreases. Because from top to bottom, what happens is general electronic configuration NH2 NP4. If these elements loses last 4 electrons, then the general oxidation state is +4. Along with these 4 electrons, if it loses these 2 electrons also, then oxidation state becomes +6. But these electrons are not involved in the bond formation. That non-involvement of outer NS electrons in the bond formation, we call it as inert pair. It is called inert pair effect. So because of this inert pair effect, from top to bottom, stability of +6 oxidation state gradually decreases and stability of +4 oxidation state gradually increases. Next, these elements, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, they show +4 and +6 oxidation state. And in +4 oxidation state, generally they show +4 oxidation state. These elements show +4 oxidation state in oxide. In oxide, it means that when these elements react with oxygen, then they form oxide. In those oxides, they will show +4 oxidation state. Example, SO2, in this oxidation state of sulfur is +4. If you take SeO2, in this case also +4, like that. And these elements show +6 oxidation state in halides. In halides, especially fluorine. Especially fluorine. It means that we can say fluoride. These elements show higher oxidation state, that is +6 in fluoride. Example, SF6. Example, SF6. And in case of +6 and +4, the nature of the bond is covalent. In a higher oxidation state, the nature of the bond is covalent in nature. That is about oxidation states shown by 16th group elements. Oxygen show very few oxidation states. Oxygen unable to show higher oxidation state. The reason for this, oxygen does not contain d orbitals, whereas the other elements show higher oxidation state due to presence of d orbitals. And in these elements, the higher oxidation state plus 6 decreases from top to bottom due to non-involvement of outer s electrons, that is called inert phase effect. And in a higher oxidation state, the nature of the bonds between central atom and the bonded atom is covalent. And +4 oxidation state generally shown in oxide, +6 oxidation state is shown in case of halides, that is especially in fluorides. That is about oxidation states of 16 group elements. Next, anomalous behavior. Anomalous behavior or anomalous properties of oxygen. So these elements: oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. All these elements belong to the same group. Whenever elements present in the same group, they must show similar properties. Actually, elements are arranged in vertical column. They are called groups because those elements which are placed in this vertical column, they must have similar properties. But in this case, oxygen shows some different properties when compared to the remaining group of elements. The different properties shown by the oxygen, we call it as anomalous properties of oxygen. Why oxygen show anomalous properties? Why oxygen show different properties when compared to the remaining group of elements? The reason for this, due to small size. Due to small size. In this group, oxygen has small size. And second one, oxygen is a high electronegative element in this group due to high electronegativity. And third one, in this group, oxygen only have no d orbital due to absence of d orbital. Due to absence of d orbital. Because of these three reasons, oxygen show some anomalous properties when compared to the remaining group of elements. The first anomalous property shown by the oxygen is, let us see physical state. Let us see physical state. So in this group, oxygen is gas, whereas all other elements, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, all these elements are solids. All these elements are solid. Why oxygen is gas, whereas the other elements are solid? For that reason we saw in the previous classes. But here we are discussing about anomalous property, anomalous behavior of oxygen. So what is the first anomalous property shown by the oxygen? Oxygen at room temperature is gas, whereas the other elements of this group are solids. And the second one is atomicity. Second one, atomicity. So oxygen is diatomic. Oxygen is diatomic. Two oxygen atoms are bonded with one another and it exists in the form of O2, whereas sulfur, selenium, tellurium are octa. Of course, polonium is a radioactive. It exists in the monoatomic. Polonium is unstable, It is obtained due to decomposition of some radioactive materials like uranium and thorium. Polonium is not available in nature. So oxygen is diatomic, whereas the other elements are octaatomic. This is the second anomalous property shown by the oxygen. And the third one is just now we discussed, that is oxidation state. That is oxidation state. So in this group, oxygen show very few oxidation state, that is plus -2 to +2 only. It does not show higher oxidation state, that is +4 +6. It does not show +4 +6 due to absence of d orbitals. So it is a third anomalous property shown by the oxygen. And the next anomalous property shown by the oxygen is due to small size and a high electronegativity oxygen has the ability to form hydrogen bonding. Oxygen has the ability to form hydrogen bonding, whereas other elements of this group unable to form such type of hydrogen bonding. Oxygen has the ability to form hydrogen bonding. Other elements of this group unable to form hydrogen bonding. That is the fourth anomalous property shown by the oxygen. Next anomalous property shown by the oxygen is maximum covalency. Maximum covalency of oxygen is 4, but in practice rarely it cross covalency 2. Oxygen maximum covalency is 4, but in practice rarely it crosses covalency 2. It means that in all its compounds its covalency is 2 only. In all its compounds its maximum covalency is 2. In general its maximum covalency is 4, whereas the other elements having covalency more than 4 and their covalency is 6. So another anomalous property shown by the oxygen, maximum covalency is 4, but rarely it crosses covalency 2, whereas the other elements of this group show higher covalency, that is 6. The reason for this, due to absence of d orbital in case of oxygen. So that is another anomalous property shown by the oxygen. Next anomalous property, oxygen has the ability to form p-pi multiple bonds with other oxygen or carbon or nitrogen. Oxygen has the ability to form p-pi multiple bonds with other oxygen or carbon or nitrogen, whereas other elements, that is sulfur, selenium, tellurium, has the ability to form p-pi along with p-pi and d-pi. Other elements of this group, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, has the ability to form p-pi d-pi bond. But in this case, oxygen has only p-pi, unable to form p-pi d-pi. is unable to form p pi d pi. Sorry, here oxygen has the ability to form p pi, whereas the other elements can have the ability to form p pi d pi and d pi bonds also. Oxygen also has the ability to form p pi d pi, but very rare. So this is another anomalous property regarding this oxygen. And last anomalous property is, we know according to molecular orbital theory, according to MOT, molecular orbital theory, oxygen is paramagnetic. Oxygen is paramagnetic due to presence of two unpaired electrons in anti-bonding 2 pi star px1 and 2 pi star py1. It contains two unpaired electrons in anti-bonding molecular orbitals. Due to presence of two unpaired electrons in anti-bonding molecular orbitals, oxygen is paramagnetic, whereas the other elements of this group are dia. Other elements of this group are dia. These are the anomalous properties shown by the oxygen. Next topic, hydrides. Next topic, hydrides. What are hydrides? Hydrides are nothing but these are the compounds formed by the reaction of this 16th group elements with the hydrogen. So let us take 16th group element with the general formula E and the hydrogen H2. All these elements react with the hydrogen and they form hydrides having the general formula H2E. Example, you can take H2O, H2S, H2Se, H2Te, H2PO. These are the hydrides formed by 16th group element. This is called water or hydrogen oxide. This is hydrogen sulfide. This is hydrogen selenide. This is hydrogen telluride. This is hydrogen polonide. These are the hydrides formed by the 16th group elements when they react with hydrogen. Now, in this case, let us see the properties of these hydrides one by one. First, from oxygen to polonium, atomic size increases. When atomic size increases, bond length, that is EH bond length. When atomic size of the central atom increases, bond length decreases. First point, bond length decreases. When bond length increases, size of the central atom increases, bond length increases. When bond length increases, EH bond energy decreases. EH bond energy decreases. When bond energy decreases, thermal stability decreases. So among these, which one is thermally more stable? Thermal stability order is like this. Among these, which hydride is thermally more stable? Water is thermally more stable. The reason for this, from top to bottom, size of the central atom increases, bond length increases, bond energy decreases, thermal stability decreases. H2O is thermally stable, H2PO is thermally unstable, but it is a radioactive. That's why while we are comparing the properties, we will consider up to H2Te only, but not H2PO. So thermal stability from top to bottom decreases. When thermal stability decreases, then reducing property increases. Always remember, reducing property and thermal stability are inversely proportional. So reducing property is inversely proportional to thermal stability. Reducing property is inversely proportional to thermal stability. When thermal stability decreases, reducing property increases. So reducing property order H2O, H2SE, H2S, H2SE, H2TE. So H2A is a weak reducing agent and H2TE is a strong reducing agent. H2TE is a strong reducing agent. Except H2O, remaining all are having reducing property. Not only H2A is a weak reducing, it does not act as a reducing agent, and all other hydrates are act as a good reducing agents. And in next property is acidic property. Next property, acidic property. So from top to bottom, what happened to the EH bond length increases. When bond length increases, automatically bond energy decreases. If bond energy decreases, then we can break this bond easily. If this bond energy is less, then this hydrate can release hydrogen more readily. So from top to bottom, EH bond energy decreases. As EH bond energy decreases, release of H plus ion will be easy from top to bottom. As a result, what happened? Acidic nature, acidic property, ability to donate H plus ion from top to bottom increases, hence acidic strength increases. So acidic strength increases. H2O, H2S, H2SE, H2P. Acidic strength increases. So this acidic strength is measured in terms of Ka value, dissociation constant of acid. So Ka value increases. Ka value increases. At the same time, pKa decreases because Ka and pKa are inversely proportional. pKa is inversely proportional to Ka. So, in these hydrates, from top to bottom, acidic nature increases, Ka value increases, and pKa value decreases. Next one. Next property. Next property, all these hydrates contain two bond pairs and two lone pairs. Example, H2O, it contains two lone pairs and two bond pairs. Sulfur, two bond pairs, two lone pairs. Selenium, two bond pairs, two lone pairs. Next, tellurium, it contains two bond pairs, two lone pairs. When it contains two bond pairs and two lone pairs, then the geometry of the molecule is bent or angular. All these molecules are having bent geometry or angular. And in this case, the bond angle is 104. We know in water molecule, the bond angle is 104. And in this case, the bond angle is 92, it is 91, and it is 90. So from H2O to H2TE, the bond angle gradually decreases. Why the bond angle decreases? The reason for that, when the size of the central atom increases, the repulsions between the bond pairs decreases. When repulsions between bond pairs decreases, then these bonds will come close to one another. As a result, bond angle decreases. And the next important point in this case, H2O oxygen undergo sp3 hybridization, whereas other hydrides in these other hydrides, sulfur in H2S sulfur, in H2Se selenium, in H2Te tellurium, does not undergo hybridization. Does not undergo hybridization. In all these cases, only pure p orbitals are involved. Pure p orbitals are involved in the bond formation. So that is about structure of the hydrides and hybridization of hydrides. So bond angle from top to bottom decreases. After that, boiling point and melting point. Let us see the boiling point. Generally, boiling point is directly proportional to molecular weight. As molecular weight increases, boiling point increases. As a result, the boiling point order must be H2O, H2S, H2Se, H2Te. Polonium is radioactive. But the boiling point order observed to be H2O has more boiling point. H2O has more boiling point than the expected. The reason for this, we know in H2O there is hydrogen bonding is there. Due to the presence of hydrogen bonding, the boiling point of H2O is more than the expected. When boiling point order will be like this, then volatility is inversely proportional to boiling point. So which hydride is more volatile? H2S. After that, H2Se. After that, H2Te. After water. So among these hydrides, which one has least volatile nature? That is H2O. Which one has more volatile nature? That is H2S. And after that, melting point. After that, melting point. The melting point also follows the same order, that is H2S greater than H2Se greater than H2Te greater than H2O. Again, the reason due to the presence of hydrogen bonding. That is about hydrides. That is about hydrides. Next topic is oxides. Next one, oxides. All these elements, oxides, all these elements react with oxygen and they form two types of oxides. One is dioxide, another one is trioxide. All these elements react with oxygen and they form two types of oxides. One is dioxide, another one is trioxide. Oxygen cannot form trioxide. Oxygen cannot form trioxide. So the dioxide formed by the oxygen is nothing but O3. O3 we can write OO2. And dioxide formed by the sulfur, SO2, SeO2, TeO2. O3, SO2, SeO2, TeO2, and trioxide. These are dioxides. Dioxides. Trioxides. Trioxides are nothing but SO3, SeO3, TeO3. These are the dioxides and trioxides formed by these 16 group elements. In these two dioxides are gases, except that the remaining all the dioxides and trioxides are solids. And these dioxides are acts as a good reducing agents. These dioxides are acts as a good reducing agent. SO2, SeO2, TeO2. These are acts as a good reducing agent, and the reducing property from top to bottom decreases. SO2 is a good reducing agent. TeO2 is a good oxidizing agent. Of course, SO2 acts as a reducing agent as well as oxidizing agent. And the properties, reducing property, oxidizing property, etc., we will study for this ozone as a separate topic. We have the preparation of oxygen, properties, reducing property, oxidizing property, etc. All these things we will study separately for ozone. But in case of SO2, SeO2, TeO2, SO2 is a strong reducing agent and TeO2 acts as a strong oxidizing agent. So these dioxides and trioxides are acidic in nature, and the acidic nature from top to bottom decreases. And one more, if you take these are also acts as a acidic oxide, and the acidic oxide from sulfur to tellurium decreases. In dioxides also, the acidic nature from sulfur to selenium decreases. And these are dioxide and these are trioxide. Both these are acts as a, both these are having acidic property, and the acidic strength will be more for trioxide when compared to dioxide. So when compared to SO2, SO3 is more acidic. When compared to SO2, SO3 is more acidic. That is about nature of oxides. Regarding this ozone, we will study separate chemistry of ozone is there. In that case, we will study about this ozone. And again, we will study about this SO2 and SO3 also. Comparatively, we will study SO2 and SO3. That is about today's class. Tomorrow we will see next topic.